Several people have mastered a negative outlet for their self-pleasure, and so they are unable to derive pleasure from their partners. Some can't share the full pleasure of sex with their partner. Some specific dangers are: number 1, a low libido towards your partner. Masturbation can cause very low libido in a person masturbating. This is because the person gets very addicted to some specific ways of deriving pleasure and achieving orgasm on their own. They're so used to this way of satisfaction, and so they have very little or no sexual desire for their partner. Due to this low libido, they're usually not interested in having sex with their partners. These set of people deprive their partners of sex. Usually, they don't feel a sense of sexual attraction towards their partners. The only thing that can satisfy them is their self-pleasure. This is dangerous because it leaves the other partner sexually frustrated and tired. Also, this lack of sex in marriage causes much tension and arguments. Number 2, a high libido. Another danger of masturbation in marriage is high sexual libido. People that masturbate frequently and are addicted to it, they frequently feel the urge to have sex or perform sexual activity. For these sets of people, sex, sexual activity or masturbation must take place. This is dangerous to a couple because this person wants to have sex many times with little or almost no control, but their partner doesn't feel the persistent urge to have sex as they do, so they are left with little sexual satisfaction. In turn, their little or no sexual satisfaction also leads them to masturbate more because they want to achieve satisfaction, further continuing the process. Number 3, infidelity. For a person to masturbate successfully, usually they need a thought process. This thought process is usually achieved by pornography and other sexual stimulating processes. Pornography and sexual content excitement help achieve sexual satisfaction. The problem is that these videos or pictures are usually containing images of other people that aren't their spouses. So it breaks the code of marriage. It opens door to emotional infidelity and allows a person to think of sexual possibilities with other people. Many times, this leads to a person cheating on their spouse. Masturbation can be very addictive, causing an insatiable urge for more. Due to the pleasurable results, a person who masturbates can get very hooked on it. They feel an insatiable urge many times, and so they may go ahead and find several ways to please themselves. Some may even go as far as finding pleasure with other partners to satisfy their urges even though they are married. This insatiable urge makes this person get involved in more sordid and unreasonable practices. Some may go as far as using the practices of escorts and prostitutes. Some even sleep with other people's partners or go ahead to arrange an orgy party just to get themselves satisfied. Number 4. Sex and intimacy are destroyed in marriage because of masturbation. When one's heart is already set and focused on masturbation and self-pleasure, they usually wouldn't be so interested in giving or receiving sexual pleasure from their spouse. This, therefore, breaks the covenant of sexual bonding between sexual partners. These people deprive their partners of getting satisfaction, and they don't help their partners in deriving satisfaction. Masturbating frequently generally is a very unhealthy habit. It destroys the intimacy that should exist among a couple. It provides a person a seeming sense of freedom, and so they think that they don't need their partner to achieve sexual satisfaction or fulfillment. This reduces the intimacy between partners and causes them to grow apart. Many times, this space that is created amongst a couple allows entry for third parties into the marriage. Masturbation removes sexual expression from the God-given pattern. It causes people to be self-seeking, and they are separated from the real purpose of intimacy. Though they may achieve an orgasm or satisfaction, there is no intimacy between the partners. Sex is then left as a feeling rather than an expression of love and intimacy towards the other partner. The sexual drive between a couple was given to exhibit the covenant love between Christ and His church. Masturbation doesn't exhibit love. Someone who is addicted to masturbation runs away from the work of a relationship because they're so self-focused. They're unable to meet the needs of another person. They don't even know how to ask about what the other person wants or needs sexually. The Apostle Paul wrote about sex. The wife's body does not belong to her alone, but also her husband. In the same way, the husband's body does not belong to him alone, but also to his wife. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 4. In this context, Paul was telling Christians to give their bodies sexually to their spouse, because they are one flesh in a sense. Masturbating goes against this principle. Many times, masturbation increases selfishness in marriage, because there is a focus on solo sex, personal needs and gratification, even at the expense of the other spouse. The constant repetition of this leads to a lack of sexual satisfaction for the partner who's always left out. Masturbation damages intimacy in relationships, especially when it's used as a substitute for building healthy intimacy and relating with a person's spouse. Because it can be very easy to just achieve orgasm by one's self, it can get troubling for a person addicted to masturbation to focus on the necessary work of intimacy in marriage. Rejecting your partner is a negative effect that masturbation can cause. A person who's always masturbating and is always tired from the continual stimulating process would always reject their partners irrespective of how their partners try to please them. It may even be so bad that the partner no longer derives orgasms in real sexual intercourse. This can ruin a marriage because it leaves the other partner inadequate and feeling incomplete. Number 5. Concealing serious issues. Sometimes masturbation serves as a way of covering up serious issues that are in a marriage. For example, emotional pain, inferiority, lack, and intimacy are things that one can easily overlook by masturbating. In marriage, there are several issues. Issues as feelings of disrespect, sexual intimidation, and several other things. Many times, couples with issues don't bother talking about it, for they don't have sex when they are faced with huge issues. This act can cause one or both of them to feel the need to masturbate to achieve an orgasm. They may continue this to make sure that there's no need to speak on the issue. This continual act leads to a process of avoiding the main issue, therefore leaving the issue unattended. This can lead to larger issues in the future, like a big argument or even a divorce. Many marriages are broken because of this lack of settling matters. Number 6. Loss of interest and a change of focus in marriage. Some people may begin to lose taste or interest in their marriage, especially when the marriage has experienced a lack of sex for a long while. Some partners change their focus in marriage. Instead of focusing on things that could lead to the profits of the family or marriage, many times the person's attention is always on masturbation, one sexual fantasy or the other. Some married persons have very detailed sexual fantasies with people that aren't their spouses. They spend their time imagining and thinking about someone else rather than their spouse. Number 7. Divorce. Masturbation can lead to divorce. How it does this is that it leads to infidelity, arguments, or sexual dissatisfaction. Either of all these can lead to any of the partners filing for divorce. The couples can file for divorce when they notice and believe that nothing else can remedy their relationship. Divorce through an ugly thing may occur when there is sexual frustration in the marriage. The divorce could even occur as a result of a lack of trust. If one partner catches the other watching pornography and masturbating, they could lose all trust towards their spouse. This can happen if they had no idea that their partner was involved in such an act like that before. Number 8. Pornography. Almost everyone who masturbates usually sees a large amount of pornography. This pornography was developed with the intent that the end user would seek self-pleasure and eventually become addicted to seeking more pleasure. A partner in a marriage may have been addicted to pornography for years, and so images are in their head, and they lust for the fulfillment of these desires. Many would ask or impose on their husband or wife for that particular sexual act that they've been seeing. The issue becomes worse when the partner doesn't want to do such acts because they may consider it too vulgar or immoral. Thus, in turn, leads to sexual frustration and dissatisfaction on the part of the person watching pornography. For some individuals, pornography makes them not want to have sex with their partner, leaving their partner sexually dissatisfied always. This person spends so much time on the internet or watching porn on films, sexually depicting images or videos, and that's the only thing that satisfies them. The images they see and the desires they've developed in their head are the only way they can derive pleasure. Hence, they spend so much time on their devices and abandon their partner's need for sex. Sometimes it could be that the porn has led to a very high libido that their partner cannot realistically satisfy, and so they give up on sex with their partners and focus solely on their phones and other devices. All of these can cause bitterness in marriage because trust is reduced and someone seems to always be acting self-centered and selfish, only concerned with their sexual gratification.